Hello everyone and welcome to another Top 5 Records video, another one in this series in which I'm taking a closer look at the full discography of David Bowie. And today we have arrived at Never Let Me Down again. Now, why am I going to talk about Never Let Me Down again? Because in 2018, this version was released. Am I going to spend an entire video just talking about a new remaster or a new mix? No, because that doesn't count as a new album for me. What's going on here? This is something quite extraordinary because this is a newly produced version of this album, initiated by David Bowie. He initiated it before 2018, obviously, because he died in 2016. So, what's going on here? Well, what you're basically listening to on this version is the original vocal by Bowie and sometimes a certain instrument that was on that recording. The rest is all played new. Well, if you're still in doubt, why would this be relevant to give an own episode in a series about Bowie? Let me quote the book, the Loving the Alien book, because it was released in on vinyl for the first time in this Loving the Alien book. I'm going to quote: In March of 2008, David Bowie called me. This is written by Mario G. McNulty, the producer of this album. David Bowie called me early one morning, nearly laughing. He brightly said, "Hi, Mario. It's David. What are you up to next week?" Sorry for my horrible Bowie impression, but it just can't help it. I stepped awake at David's voice. He was trying not to laugh since he knew damn well that I was asleep. David explained to me that he wanted to try something new with an old song. He knew I wasn't and didn't really have to ask. I went over to his house later that same day and he spoke of the song Time Will Crawl from his 1987 album Never Let Me Down. So, David expressed his thoughts in more detail and the desire to redo it somehow. At the time, I think it seemed like a daunting project to David, but he had something up his sleeve. He wanted to take a crack at Time Will Crawl and reproduce it. Now, or the way David Bowie stated when the Never Let Me Down mix was released in 2008, David wrote in his sleeve notes, "The host of so sorry, I'm just going to continue. The host of songs that I've recorded over the years that, for one reason or another, clenched teeth, I've often wanted to re-record sometime in the future. A track from Never Let Me Down is one of those. I've replaced the drum machine with true drums and some crickety strings and remix. I'm very fond of this new version with its Neil Young of Shortland's accents. I'll to redo the rest of the album." And the redo is what Mario G. McNulty did, but not with the least of artists. Again, I'm going to quote McNulty. "I also needed a band. I hired Sterling Campbell on drums, who played On Time Will Crawl. David was enthusiastic about his playing and felt it worked perfectly for this material. I added Tim Lefebvre, who was in the Black Star band, played bass guitar. I knew I needed something specific from the guitar, so I called Reeves, Gabriels, and David Thorne. These wonderful musicians all had a history with David, so they were a perfect fit for what would seem with David, so they would seem like brand new songs. After some decision making, I needed some very distinct programming on two songs, and it goes on and on. It's a very intriguing vision. The result are these two LPs, actually three sides of Never Let Me Down. And honestly, this was not released as an initial release. I believe it didn't get a standout release. I guess I understand why, because Never Let Me Down was not a hit. It has a bad reputation amongst Bowie fans. So it's tough to get people triggered to listen to those songs again. But at least half of these songs are good songs. And that's why I want to do a video about it. This is a reimagining of an album initiated by Bowie that shows Never Let Me Down suffered mostly from poor production. The way Day In, Day Out starts, I mean, it has an awesome trumpet. I love the detail on the mastering because the songs that were usually put on two sides and on three sides, and we have so much more detail. Bowie's voice is just incredible. The newly played drums have so much more energy and livelihood to it, and it makes that song Day In Day Out really come to live. Uh, this is actually a very good Bowie song. His voice is so powerful. And then you go to Time Will Crawl, same thing, and it starts so smartly with an electric guitar that is strumming in a lonely manner. Then Bowie's voice gets in, and it builds and it builds and it builds, and Time Will Crawl becomes seriously masterpiece. It is so good. There are so many new elements coming in there. I believe the old synthesizers are still there. They work, or the way they're mixed, that melody, it works. It's a very, very good song. I love it. Then Beat of Your Drum, it becomes an epic the way they produce it here. And at this moment, because the vocals of Bowie are they are the old vocals, of course. And for the first time, I noticed how incredibly good Bowie as a vocalist is. He had so much power, so much energy, but also so much understanding of his voice. He had so many ways to phrase something, to let it come out, to put a different emphasis on it, to act out the story of the main character. He is a brilliant vocalist. And to notice that on Beat on Your Drum in this version is delightful. Never Let Me Down. That song on this production, it's a banger. Zeros is a gorgeous, gorgeous song here. It's until the song Glass Spider that I would consider the first half, um, it's definitely not amongst his weakest songs. It's also better than the mid range. I would even put this among, if you have the highest range of Bowie songs, maybe at the bottom of the highest range. And oh my god, to be at the in the highest level of Bowie songs, they are incredible. Glass Spider, that song, is the first song when I get the impression that the album might not be a reimagining but a remix, because that song is just, it doesn't work. It's not bad. On this version, I'd give it a 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10. In the other way, all the other versions, live or in studio, it's just, nah. It does get to the sense that this is much more a 70s storytelling in this production. And then there's a beat that does do good work, but it also feels a little bit forced, like a misunderstanding of zeitgeist. But 6 out of 10. Shining Star, Making My Life. I believe this is the song where where Laurie Anderson does some vocals or rap. Bowie was a fan of Laurie Anderson, newly recorded, which is a nice bonus. 87 and Cry actually turns out to be a good song here. 87 and Cry is very nice in this edition. And Bang Bang, never the banger it should have been, but so much better on the original. With a gorgeous, I believe it's violin. Yeah, it's fine. Man, this is awesome. Really, it's as if we are given back a Bowie record and we can enjoy it like a normal Bowie record. I'm just so happy they did this. I'm so happy Bowie initiated this, because it does show that in the late 80s, David Bowie did not lose his writing abilities. He did not lose his vocal abilities. There was something in the vision, in the sound and vision. Now, there was something in the zeitgeist that strangled Never Let Me Down. But Bowie was alive. Very much. So I'm curious, what do you think Do you agree? Do you disagree? Leave a comment below and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.